Hello. So in this video, we're going to talk about Garth Ennis's graphic novel, Sara, illustrated by Steve Epting and colored by Elizabeth Breitweiser. So, Sara is really good. I really like this graphic novel. It's the closest thing I can sort of think of that would maybe illustrate the approach here is something like Enemy at the Gates, the film with Jude Law and Rachel Weisz. Sara is very similar in that it's about a sniper who essentially works alone and is this like deadly crack marksperson. But instead of Jude Law, it's Sara. So this is really cool because in the Red Army in World War II, women actually played major roles in combat. Women actually became really, really famous as sharpshooters, as pilots. So they took on all of these combat roles that in other armies of the time they didn't. And part of this was about the Soviet push for gender equality, which is actually something that comes up in the graphic novel. And even though this is a little bit sarcastic, or this is sort of downplayed a little bit or mocked a little bit, it's actually quite true. So there's one point where this group of female snipers are coming back from a mission, and one of the characters says, I mean, they've got us doing everything now, and when the war ends and we go back home, it'll be like that too. So, and I mean, this is not like they've got us doing everything and that's terrible. It's women had opportunities in the Soviet Union that they didn't have in Western societies, for instance. And that's a historically documented fact. The Soviet Union had a major push for job equality. They had major pushes to educate women in the sciences and then give them positions in the sciences, in government, in the military, etc., etc. And in World War II, they were extremely egalitarian compared to other militaries like the US, British, French, and German militaries, which had very little roles for women. The Soviet Union, again, had these amazingly proficient female fighters, snipers, pilots, etc., etc. And they became world famous in some cases. And so Sara takes us into that kind of world. Now, the other thing, though, is that the graphic novel is clearly aware of the shortcomings of Soviet society. So it's not all gender equality, beer and Skittles. This is also a paranoid world. This is a world of surveillance. There is a propaganda officer who's assigned to this small unit of female snipers, and her job is twofold: to promote patriotism amongst them and to watch for any signs of discontent or questioning the cause. And she's constantly there. And Sara is not particularly restrained in some of her criticism. And that's quite justified by the graphic novel, because we learn at some point that her village, the village that she comes from, has been totally destroyed, and she's told by the Soviet, the commissar that she goes to, that it was destroyed by the Germans, but she later finds out it was actually destroyed by the Soviets. They had sent people in German uniforms as a sort of loyalty test. If the people would open their doors and give food, water, whatever it was, to these people in German uniforms, they would be killed. And so that's what happened to Sara's family. And so she has that that internal conflict, because she is fighting the Germans, she is fighting for the Soviet Union, and yet the Soviet Union liquidated her family. So it's a complex character in which loyalties are difficult to define, difficult to pin down, and so she's a fascinating figure. I like Sara a lot. But we've also got, again, some things that are very, very similar to Enemy at the Gates. There's an element... So one of the key sort of conflict in the latter portion of Enemy at the Gates, if you haven't seen the film, Jude Law is a Soviet sniper. He's this amazing sniper who gets a whole propaganda industry built up around him specifically because he's so proficient. So the Germans call in their own master sniper, and essentially they have a sort of sniper's duel, where they're each trying to locate and kill the other. This idea is introduced in Sara as well. At some point, this fairly skeezy-looking commissar is killed by a sniper right in front of the squad. Like he's giving a speech to motivate them, and he gets shot. And so what they find out is that the Germans have called in their own sniper because there's a rumor about a female sniper who's got 300 kills. And so the idea is that this sniper has been brought in to take that sniper out. So we get here, I'm going to sort of read you, I don't really have a good idea of how to talk through this, so I'm going to give you what the characters say. This is the visuals, which you can't necessarily see fantastically, but so they've got, so this unit of snipers, the sort of larger unit, both male and female snipers, has this I think he's a lieutenant, and basically he's telling them, he's giving them the overview of the situation. He says, someone's doing unto us what you do unto them. That makes it your area of expertise, which means all eyes are on you. We do know a little more. They picked up a couple of mouths last night. Apparently the fascists have been waiting for this for a while. This new man is supposed to be the answer to a prayer. They've been getting more and more pissed off about your activities, which is why they've asked for extra help. He's very, very good, according to the Fritzy rumor mill. And then Sara asks, they've seen him? The prisoners, did they get a look at whoever it is? What can they tell us anything about him? The lieutenant says, no, they don't even have a name, but everyone knows the difference he's made since he got here. Enemy morale is high and getting higher. Intelligence are doing a rush job on him, although it seems no one's bothered keeping tabs on snipers up till now. And then we go on from there. So basically this guy is a top German sniper who's been brought in to take out the woman that they call Die Rote Hündin, which I don't know if that's proper German. I don't speak German. Or the red bitch. So it's an interesting concept. Again, it's basically the same kind of issue that you have in Enemy at the Gates, but Ennis deals with it differently. So one of the things that is striking about this is that Sara, who the rest of the women in the group agree is Die Rote Hündin, is the woman that supposedly has 300 kills. Sara actually denies that any of them would be that figure, that it would be them collectively. So there is that sort of interesting rejection of individual glory, which we don't have as much in enemy at the gates. Jude Law's character is much more willing to accept the propaganda and accept that he's this exceptional marksman, whereas Sara does not. Sara downplays her own role in favor of the unit's strength. But the other interesting thing is the idea of a sniper duel is proposed. Like, Sara says, I will go out and kill him, and the lieutenant's like, no, that's dumb. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. As a group, you are all going to go out, you're going to draw this one guy out, and whoever kills him, kills him. I don't care who kills him, as long as someone does. But this is not about a duel situation. This is war. This is not the Wild West. But what ends up happening is that they lay these traps to try and get this guy, and then several of the women in the unit get killed. And Sara sort of comes to this realization that this sniper is so good that he will kill them. He will kill the rest of them if she doesn't take him out. And so what ends up happening is she captures a German, puts him up in a tree with a sniper rifle where he will be spotted. But she's figuring that because this guy shoots from maximum distance, he won't be able to see well enough who exactly it is that he's targeting. And so when he fires, she will be able to get him. And it works. The German sniper kills the German decoy. Sara kills him. She stands up, and then she realizes that's probably a sniper team. Because she's the exception in this graphic novel. Most of the other snipers work in pairs. Someone to spot and someone to shoot. And if one of those two gets killed, the other can still continue fighting. Because she was thinking of this guy as one sniper, when she shot him, she made the mistake. She stood up. And so the other sniper killed her. Or shot her. She dies fairly slowly. In the last couple of pages of the graphic novel, she sort of envisions the futures that these women might have, her comrades might have. And so she does a trick. She does something that her comrades have been very critical of her for doing, but that she learned from the sergeant who originally trained her to be a sniper. Because one of the things that he taught her to do was to take the pin out of a grenade and then put it under the dead body. If you ambush Germans, you put it under their dead body so that when their German comrades come along and lift the bodies to identify them, the grenade explodes and kills more Germans. Sara, at the end of this novel, or at the end of this graphic novel, as she's shot and as she lays bleeding to death, takes the pin from a grenade, holds it to her chest, and rolls onto her stomach, so that when this German sniper comes and lifts her body to see that he's killed her, she will kill him in return.